I thought I was going to surprise you by introducing myself, by the looks of it at least. I am a gynecological robotic and a cancer surgeon. But there's little more. If you look deeper, there's an engineer at heart. And I thought I left that engineer behind. Until 15 years ago, he returned. A few years into my practice, a 17-year-old girl came to me with a complex genetic problem of an undeveloped uterus with the trapped menstrual blood. The medical indication was not clear. Remove the uterus. That was indicated. But emotionally, it felt wrong. It was like telling her, you will never menstruate, you will never be able to carry a child, and you will never be able to feel like a woman, ever. I couldn't accept. I asked, how can I remove what I am trained to save, primarily? And I paused, and I thought, can I find another way? I analyzed, I studied, no solutions in the book. I hustled with the manufacturers, no answer. So I thought I will accept the challenge and move forward. Everyone told me, no, don't do it. Too risky, too unconventional. I sketched, went to the manufacturers again. I had my doubts. I had no roadmap, but I had an instinct and a voice inside me whispering, innovate. Finally, I built a small customized instrument and a novel surgical approach. I made 3 small keyholes, drained this trapped uterine blood, and created a prosthesis so that she could menstruate again. We succeeded. That was not just a life-changing moment for the girl, but also for me. Because that was when I realized I was not just a surgeon anymore. I was an engineer who wanted to innovate. Because when the textbook ends, invention begins. I did not create big things, but I wanted to innovate. I wanted to use my doubts. They were not a weakness anymore. They were the starters, the ignition for innovation. I did not make big machines or billion-dollar platforms, but I met the big challenges of the operating room and the frustrations in the operating room with small, tiny tweaks to the subtle changes in the surgical instruments, which could make complex surgery smoother. These weren't glamorous inventions, but they worked. Surgeons felt more under control, and patients recovered better. Of course, that was not the end, it was the beginning. While I was at this, technology also was impacting the world of surgery. And I was trying to build up affordable innovations. But I'm also fortunate to live through these technological revolutions in surgery. We had open surgery many years ago. then the laparoscopic surgery through the small keyholes, and then the robotic surgery. And now, in future, artificial intelligence and autonomy. Maybe an autonomous machine performing a surgery by itself. Scary, isn't it? Yeah, but all these technological advances will bring out deeper questions. Are we becoming engineers more than doctors? Or can this compassion and empathy, an ingredient for a doctor, survive the console of an autonomous robot? Can it be still healing, or it's just mechanized? And then I pondered and I remembered my first robotic cancer surgery. 6 hours later, I go to the patient's room and she's sitting comfortably out of the bed. And more surprised, she asks me, "Doc, when are you sending me home?" That was when I realized that technology, when applied right, can transform recovery. But how does a robot transform recovery or make it better? Robotic instruments will enter the patient's abdomen through small keyholes. But over the laparoscopic instruments, they have an advantage of 360-degree movement like the surgeon's wrist. But they're also powered by magnified 3D vision, gives more precision, near microscopic vision. So the surgeon can perform a complex surgery with ease, spends less time for the surgery. That makes patient's recovery better and also more pain-free. Amazing, isn't it? But that's not the only thing. There's a hidden advantage beyond the realm of common knowledge for the patients, so to speak. What it was doing to surgeons was more intriguing. It was recording all my surgeries. It was evaluating me, analyzing my previous surgery and the next, and creating a surgical algorithm. But technology, when it was intimidating me, I chose to accept it as a gift because it gave me the power of reflection, introspection, and made me improve, innovate in my surgical movements. So when doctors start thinking about algorithms, so what happens when doctors start thinking like engineers? We unlock potential. We move beyond the paradigms of the routine. We reach the edges of what's possible. We just don't do or perform surgeries. We start engineering healing. Because innovation doesn't scream, it whispers. So that made me analyze surgery on a deeper level. What is a surgery? Very complex. Remove an organ. It involves steps of careful dissection when you're removing a tumor or an organ, preserving the normal organs around it, isolating, identifying the blood supply, controlling them by stitches or some energy to burn them, to prevent blood loss. Finally, disconnecting the pathological or the diseased organ from the body. And then, yes, don't forget to sew everything back. But then these 5 different steps require the surgeon to go back and forth, take a tissue forceps, then give it back, take a scissor, then give it back, take a cautery machine to burn the vessel, give it back, and then use a needle holder to stitch it back. Time consuming and inconvenient. But all the surgeons worldwide are doing it, still doing it, and getting used to it, or already have gotten used to it, the so-called experienced surgeons. But I still kept thinking, Can't I integrate most of these steps into one instrument? It can make surgery faster, of course, still safer, and yet economical, and making patients' recovery better, reducing the risks. That's a win-win endpoint. And that's what we need. Voila! 12 years later, me and my team managed to create this instrument. Not just the instrument. We got a US patent, a European patent in most of those countries, and nomination as the top healthcare innovation in the last decade. Also recognized by the government of India under the Make in India initiative. So that's absolutely a homegrown innovation from the corridors of the hospital and the mind of an engineer in a doctor, having the power to change the surgeries worldwide. So this is what happens when we all unlock our potential. And do you know with whom I made this instrument? Not a medical manufacturer, not a surgical manufacturer, a pen manufacturer. Why? Because he dared to think that he needs to make a difference besides making pens. And yes, what happened to that 17-year-old girl? 15 years down the line, she is still experiencing her womanhood and ready to embrace motherhood, looking forward to start a family. That's what is the power and the magic when a surgeon dares to innovate. So I'm looking to not just do surgeries here. Think out of the box. Create ecosystems, an ecosystem where the ingenuity of engineers, doctors, and curious, enterprising, bright minds to come together. Training young doctors and mentoring teams in the operating rooms to embrace innovative thinking with the sense of compassion and empathy and purpose. Making affordable surgical tech economical but value for money and quality. Not rely on the borrowed expensive solutions all over the world. Because India needs to innovate for India and for the world. We have the potential, we have the attributes. It's just that are we ready to move beyond our doubts? Are we ready to sit on the burner, use the doubt as a burner and the ignition for growth? But at the same time, when technology moves so fast, we often think, is artificial intelligence or the autonomy in healthcare going to replace doctors? Maybe, maybe not, even if it's scary for me. But definitely, it will replace those who don't evolve. Because change is no more a disruption. It's the only constant in the world we live in. And in this era of technology and modernization, the best surgeon is not the one who has the steadiest hands, but the one with the steadiest heart and a flexible mind, who is open to question himself, who is ready to improve. So how about a scenario when the engineers meet medicine with compassion? When steel meets the soul, when artificial intelligence anticipates the pain, and an autonomous robot can perform a surgery, but still practicing feeling empathy. This is our future, and we are building it one step at a time. One insight, one innovation, one surgical instrument, and one compassionate decision at a time. So come, let's improve, let's innovate, or create a new world. Let's improvate.